The SSA, also known as Spencer Scale of Agreement. I don't know if any of you watch Criminal Minds out there, but before the break, when I said SSA, I just thought SSA David Rossi, SSA Emily Prentice. Great show, Criminal Minds. Great show. Latest season, not what it used to be, but Criminal Minds, fun show. So, let's get back into it. This for the SSA. Kenyon Sadiq will get the first reception of the year and finish the first game against Montana State. You left out the state with 2+ touchdowns. Just a short, fun one. Nothing special. Go Ducks. The first reception of the year. No, I'm at a 3. In the spring game, the first reception went to Decorian Moore. The first 2 throws went to Decorian Moore. I've got a sneaky suspicion he's not going to be far behind. Plus, first play of the year, I used to love debating this with my brother growing up in the Chip Kelly era, because Chip, sometimes had some fun, creative stuff, or would just run all hitch, and everyone would run a 3-yard hitch, and the lineman would cut block, and then, you got right to 2nd and 6. Those are the only 2 ways that Chip ever usually started a game back in the day. But I bet Stein's first play is an RPO, and Moore probably either hands the ball off or flips it out wide or a quick hitter or something like that. I don't know that Sadiq is necessarily going to be the guy involved. I think a receiver is more likely to be on the receiving end of that first play. 2+ touchdowns against Montana State, though. Hey, Sadiq had 2 touchdowns against Penn State. Why not against Montana State? So I'll give that one a 3. This also came from a Locked On Ducks insider. Just watched your show today and a thought came to mind. You mentioned Chris Hampton being a coach who could leave, and obviously Will Stein at some point. It would not surprise me if Stein were to get a head coaching job and hire Hampton as his defensive coordinator. I think both are with Oregon through 2026, but both gone by 2027. Boy, you got a lot of moving parts in there. I don't know how Oregon keeps both of these guys on their staff into 2026. I would love if they did. I really would. I think Hampton's defensive coordinator offer list is going to keep getting better and better. I'm sure he's already gotten a phone call or two. When you're the co-DC at Oregon and you win the Big Ten, yeah, you get phone calls. That doesn't mean they were high caliber phone calls, but somebody somewhere reached out to Chris Hampton and said, hey, would you be interested in coming to be our defensive coordinator? Obviously, he's still with the Ducks. He won't be forever. I don't think Lanning will ever move on from Tosh Lupoi as DC to keep a guy like Chris Hampton. I don't know if he'd ever move on from Tosh as his DC. That would probably require a significant step down in the defensive output there. And Tosh is such a good recruiter that I think Lanning knows how important that is to building a national championship program. But for Hampton, I don't think that he and Stein are tied at that. This is a 1.5 for me. Because there are a couple of moving parts, number one. And number two, you got to remember that Hampton and Stein, I do believe they came to Oregon at the same time. And obviously they know each other because they're on the same staff. But it's not like they have some long-running histories. Will Stein was at UTSA. He was a quarterback at Louisville. Chris Hampton was at Tulane. And before that, I forget where he was. I'm going to double-check real quick. But Hampton was at Duke as the defensive back coach, and at Tulane again before that as the DBs coach. So I think that he, being Chris Hampton, will have a different demographic of offers. You know, I'm gonna adjust this. I'm gonna adjust this because I'm gonna split this into 2 different takes. That Will Stein would hire Hampton to be his defensive coordinator. 4. That both are on staff through 2026, 1.5. Because in the coaching world, you do hire people that you know and have experience with. Now, I'm sure Stein, like Dan Lanning, has started collecting a Rolodex of names that he keeps on his phone or with note cards or anything like that of guys who he would want to be his defensive coordinator if he becomes a head coach one day. I don't think Chris Hampton is going to be all the way off that particular list. It'd be kind of a fun tandem to see where they would wind up. Like if they went down to Stanford and Hampton was the DC, and a caliber of job good enough to offer Will Stein its head coaching position is definitely, no matter the school, a caliber of job good enough for Chris Hampton to go and be a defensive coordinator at. I think the question is whether those two things would actually align, because I think Hampton will have the ability to go to a higher level school than Will Stein, because he's looking to be a DC and Stein's looking to be a head coach. Now, that doesn't mean Stein couldn't get a pretty darn good job. Like if this is my, you want to hear a grand conspiracy? I wouldn't put a 10 on this, but I'd put like a 3.5 on this for fun. If Dave Aranda goes back into the gutter this year at Baylor and gets fired, I bet Baylor's first call, among their first calls, will be to Will Stein. And I bet he brings Austin Novosad with him to be Baylor's starting quarterback in 2026. Now, that would be fun. Does anyone else know why that would really, really be fun? The answer, of course, I'm double checking my memory here. No, I believe it's 2027. Oregon has a non-conference matchup with Baylor. I can't type at the moment. Now Google wants me to do AI stuff. Like, come on, guys. I'm just trying to type. I believe Oregon there it is. 2027, Oregon goes to Baylor, and that's the start of a home and home with the Bears. Could you imagine, just put on your thinking cap for a moment, of the excitement of Dante Moore against Austin Novosad in Waco in 2027? Ooh! That'd be something. That's not implausible. So, on the both being there through 2026, 1.5. Stein hiring Hampton, I'll bump it up to a 4. I'll bump that up to a 4. All right. Last one. This from Kyler. And Kyler, my bad. I realized I missed this question from a while back. Still applicable to now, but it was in my Twitter DMs, and I glossed over it. So, my bad, Kyler. How much pressure does Dante Moore have with Novosad behind him? Like, how many bad games from Dante Moore would it take for a quarterback change? Also, how many games of just average quarterback play from Moore would it take for Novosad to get his shot? There is no number of games, presuming Dante Moore's a starter, and I suspect he will be. There is no number of games of average quarterback play to where, because it's his first full season as a starter, that Dante Moore would get benched. I don't think. Because think about what average is, some horrible, terrible, no good, very bad word to a lot of people. Average quarterback play is probably, churning out a bunch of 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. That should be good enough to win Oregon plenty of games. And then every now and then you pop for 270 and 3 scores. And for every one of those games you have, you go for 180, a touchdown, and 3 picks. Okay, if you do that over the course of this schedule for the Ducks, they're still probably going to be able to win 10 games. So I don't think there's any number of average quarterback play games that Dante Moore would get benched for. But below average, I don't think anything would get done until after the Penn State game. I think Dante Moore, regardless of, I don't think it can go so poorly. I mean, if he comes out and throws a pick 6 in each of his first 3 games and the offense is scoring less than 15 points per game, like it was when he was starting at UCLA, I don't know if it was less than 15 points per game, but they were really struggling. Okay, then, sure, a change would get made, Novosad would get a shot. I think they're at least going to go to the Penn State game before they would consider making a change, because then you'd have a bye week to come back home against Indiana if you were going to work a new quarterback into the fold. But it would have to be really bad. I mean, Dante Moore would have to have at least 1 turnover in every game, not have hit 250 yards passing in any contest that he's thrown, and somewhere approaching a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And the offense averaging less than 25 points a game. I don't think that's happening. I'm just saying that's That's what I think it would probably take. It does bring me a little bit of comfort, though, knowing that if Dante Moore struggles or if, God forbid, he gets hurt, Novosad's sitting there, third year in the system, talented dude, looks ready to go. I like where Oregon's quarterback room is at. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. Until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.